Hello, Rex. Good morning for me and good afternoon for you, I believe.
Thank you very much, Christiana.
Mhm. And we're here today to talk about the three-wood child star. And I know you have some insights to share about the characteristics of three-wood. What are they, Rex?
Sure. Basically, a person carrying the three-wood child star is very much like a person who is engaged with spring. In other words, it's like the daffodils just come out of the ground. So that aspect of surprise, that aspect of spontaneity, that whole quality of also needing being engaged with certain experiences in life where there's this kind of an adrenaline rush. This is important for them, and this needs to be something that they have. And in the child experience, i.e., as you know, child 4 years of age, 5 years of age, and that whole period, because the child stars, is also present with us as adults. But in that period, as a child, the freedom of movement is of major importance, because I have observed over the decades that at times, for reason, some parents or the circumstance is like there's a lot of control on the child, don't do that, stop moving so much, don't, etc., etc. And this can create issues with their joints from very early. Although nothing is really wrong physically, they haven't injured themselves, but that quality can have a big impact upon them.
Wow. And you said the spring quality. So four wood is a little bit different in that it doesn't have as much of that springiness to it. How does it differ for the four wood?
Okay, the four wood is very much more like the wind. It
Mm.
has the aspect of movement. It has also the aspect of spontaneity, but it is engaged more. It carries a more receptive quality, whereas the three-wood child star, they have to be kind of doing it or moving it or engaged with it. Whereas for the four-wood child star, they can be more in a listening quality with what's going on, um, you know, with variations in their body to some extent, but not like the dynamism that the three-wood child star carries. And it's important that they need to honor that. The three-wood child star need to honor the domain of spontaneity, of having like kind of quality of surprise experiences in their life, and going on adventure situations. They're very adventurous. So yes.
And you've mentioned too that the governing organ for three wood is liver. So
Correct.
what happens? What happens when a person, let's say like an adult, right, that has a three wood child star in their soul and their being, when they become an adult and they get into that routine, kind of that, they have children and there's order that has to be set and routines that have to be followed. What do you often see happen when the spontaneity domain is kind of put to the side due to life's responsibilities?
Thank you for that question. It is a challenging one, especially in the period we're living in, whereby extended families is not really part of the conversation anymore. A key part in that situation is for them to have a hobby where they can express that, where, be it, riding a bike, be it bungee jumping, be it dancing, be it whatever, but some aspect of that they have, it's a hobby that they engage with. And this creates quote unquote, that whole aspect of routine or order, because the family knows that, okay, you see, on Saturday or Sunday, this is what happens. She or he, they go and do that and whatever. So it's all understood, and that freedom is then expressed. For it not to be engaged with, and for the person to, what I would call, beat themselves up about, well, I need to do this, and I should do this, and I have to do this, which of course is part of the conversation with the responsibility of having a family, don't get me wrong. But to carry the narrative in that fashion, rather than accepting that there's a part of myself where I need to engage with life, and some part of my being is nourished when I do those things, then it's like a self-sabotage.
And you and I have even talked with some of our client case studies that we have about how a 3-wood can nourish this inner being of themselves, right? This soul aspect through meditation, even through interacting with the elements and nature. I know we even brought in like being able to engage with fire, water, wood, air, just being able to bring that in during a meditation, or even having those elements kind of in their midst while they're meditating. So tell me a little bit, it seems opposite to think that somebody who needs an adrenaline rush, right, in that spontaneity, also is benefited by meditation and that stillness.
Okay, in a way, the key part in that conversation is really a connection with nature, because in nature, and I'm speaking, like the forest, the trees, the woods, that energy of the sap is rising, well, especially in the spring and all of that, it's rising. So a 3-wood child star person out there walking in the forest, that spontaneity is around them because all of this is happening. And they can, especially if they are without, like their cell phone or without being plugged in, and they're just out there in the forest or in the woods, they would feel it. And they slow their breathing down, and it will, and that there'll be a quality of nourishing that would happen where it's like, it's like, this is great. I just love being out here, and the movement happens. And it's all seemingly unconscious, but it is another level of receptivity and listening, which becomes present for someone who is carries a 3-wood child personality. Let me share it another way to you. Let me put it another way to you, Cristiano. In a way, as regards, at times some people have trauma and, etc. Things are repressed. I have shared with certain clients over the years, clients who are like 3-wood child star personalities. Listen, it's very important. It's good for you to walk in the forest, but in your walk in the forest, connect with a tree that just kind of speaks to you. A tree that where, like, as you connect with it, something happens. There's another level of engagement. And it's a process. So it's maybe on the first day, nothing much happens, but they know that is a tree. And as that occurs and the process continues, for them to kind of hug the tree, for them to have a conversation with the tree, to talk their trauma, for them to shout, the aspect of also the voice, the shouting is makes a big difference as regards, all of this big energy, really, which is coming from the liver, like, major transformation I've observed over the years have happened for people with the 3-wood child star. Of course, not everyone has that facility of where they live. I mean, some people live, you know, in big cities and there's not much of that around, but if they can connect with something like that, this helps a lot.
That's why I love Qigong for so many reasons, because even if you're in a big city and you can have your window open and, you know, you can hear birds or some form of nature, and then you can do that movement and experience the chi of your body, like moving through you. That definitely has that sap rising energy and the spontaneity. And then, of course, you know, you've even helped me facilitate with clients punching a pillow, like getting the rage out, like stomping our feet. I've had sessions with 3-wood child star adults, right? And working out pent up anger, you know, from what you're saying, like if they've been in a childhood where there's a lot of control, or they weren't able to have the freedom of movement or that spontaneity that is their natural born right. There is a lot of liver energy that we have to push through and let it escape. And I know you even put in the book that having a hot cup of boiling water and then drinking that before, you know, having a meal is also very, very restorative or supportive for a 3-wood. And I can just see like how that clearing the digestion and like having that heat rising. I don't know. Is there a correlation with that and how it connects with the liver?
Okay, so basically with the boiled hot water, what we're dealing with, especially also pouring it back and forth to cool it a bit, is that it creates a big release of tension in the solar plexus. So in that release of tension in the solar plexus, the liver feels, you know, more space. It has more expression that is present. So it's mainly in that area. But generally, for whatever star pattern, you know, child star pattern that there is, if there's a tightness in the solar plexus, you know, drinking like, you know, hot, you know, boiled hot water that is poured back and forth and sipping it slowly, this helps. That whole process helps the liver, helps gallbladder, helps the digestion. But yes, for the 3-wood, this is a very, you know, beneficial approach for them to have with those situations.
And that makes a lot of sense. And for those listening in, they might not know a lot about anatomy, but the liver literally sits like right on the solar plexus. It kind of hugs right up into it. So that makes a lot of sense. By creating that kind of release in your diaphragm and the floor of your diaphragm, you're creating more space for the liver and the fascia that encases that organ. Well, I know, Rex, you have some Marma points, like a little ritual that you wanted to share that's supportive for 3-wood. Would you like to go through it now?
Yes, sure. It's quite simple. And in fact, I will send you a link so you can show it. It's on the hand, and so you can just, you know, have it as part of it. So on the hand, like just below the area of the thumb here, it's like when you bring the thumb up, you will kind of get like a lake, like a hole here. So that point is a Marma point for the liver. Bahia Mandibala, but I will text you the name of it so you know you could write it correctly. So that is the point, and it's quite simple. With the Marma points, we really, besides the organs that they may relate to, we are really connecting with the mind, the actual sense of mind of who we are. So it carries a very deep impact, although the deep impact tends to have a soft quality about it, more subtle than just, you know, massaging some point or a reflex point. It is much more subtle with that. And I like to sort of begin when one is working with the mama points to start the process by, one feels their feet on the ground, on the floor. There's a feeling of a softness in the arches of the feet. With the spine, there's a sense of, the spine is straight but not stiff. A letting go in the shoulders. So in other words, it's like there's a whole receptivity to the mind being at ease in the body. Mm. And then with that sort of attitude or that sort of presence, just slowly moving the thumb as you press in that area. You don't have to press hard, just doing that. As you soften your breath, have a feeling of letting go of the back of your navel also, like there's a lot of space at the back of your navel. So like that. We can do it because it's bilateral. We can do it on the other hand. Mm. And yeah, with mama points, it's like we are taking our time. The mind is all-encompassing of our consciousness. So rushing with the mind, you sort of miss the boat when, one is operating that way. Whereas having the awareness and the sense of, it's the source of our consciousness. So like that. So that's quite simple. It has, it creates a detoxification in the liver. And it's good, after doing it, it's good to drink some water. If not immediately, but definitely within like 20 minutes. This helps in the process of supporting the functioning of the liver and functioning a greater sense of ease for personalities who carry the 3-wood child star.
Oh, this is perfect. I already feel a shift in the space.
Yeah, your voice is different, Christiane.
Yes, my liver always needs lots of support.
Okay. I think we all do.
It's so true. Our liver is one of our, it does so much work every day with all of its functions. So yes, this can benefit anybody who tries this. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Rex.
My pleasure, Christiana, and thanks for having me.
Yeah.